Let's deal with what happened last night because both Bruce Blakeman and Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan, wanted their dinner to be photographed, videoed, and to go viral, and it did. And you would say to yourself, why is Eric Adams out in Nassau County with all the problems that we have in New York City? And Sid pressed Bruce Blakeman, the Nassau County executive, early this morning on Sid and Friends to come up with an answer for that sit-down.
Sliwa sends me a picture, Bruce, this morning of you and Adams at a very nice restaurant. I've been to Cipollini's in Manhasset, and you're having dinner with Adams. Now, there's two different schools of thought as to what this dinner was about, and now you can finally tell us what it was. One school is Eric Adams knows that you're very close with Trump, so Eric Adams wants a pardon. Who's the guy that can text Trump on the spot and make that happen? That's you. That's one school of thought.
And that was great. But Blakeman sort of like blinked at that. So Sid's second question had to do with Eric Adams running in the Republican primary and then running against the Democratic winner of that primary in the general election to become mayor of the city of New York again.
The other school of thought is that the Republican Party is trying to convince Adams to run for mayor as a Republican, and that was your conversation last night.
Excellent questions. So you don't bamboozle Sid. He hit both. Bruce, you were there with Eric Adams because he knows you're a conduit to Donald Trump, and he's trying to get that pardon. And then number two, Bruce, you're going to try to conduct meetings with the county chairman in the 5 boroughs of New York City to get Eric Adams into the Republican Party to run as a Republican for the mayoralty for re-election. Excellent questions. He set it up. Here was Bruce Blakeman's meandering response.
I would never disclose a private conversation that I had, but in general, we talked a lot about government.
We talked a lot about government. Well, that's like code language. Although he wanted to keep the privacy of his conversation with Eric Adams, which is generally what people do. He wasn't going to be a yenta. He wasn't going to be talking about the conversation on the most powerful radio station, WABC, in the nation, by day, coast to coast, and most powerful at night around the world. But then he didn't end it there. He basically, without realizing it, at least for me, and then I'll explain it to you, explained the origin of how this dinner and sit-down with Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan in Nassau County, took place last night with County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
The genesis of this is we had a mutual friend who's been trying to put us together for months, Howard Fensterman, who I used to practice law with.
Oh, Howard Fensterman. Slowly I turn step by step, Justin Ellick. Do you know who he's partners with? The infamous Frank Carone, the bag man for Eric Adams, the man who enabled Eric Adams to become mayor the first time. He was the chairman of the election committee. He was the chief fundraiser. He now is in charge of the Legal Defense Fund, and the co-chairman is my husband-in-law, David Patterson. And he is the chairman of the fundraising effort to reelect, believe it or not, Eric Adams as the next mayor of the city of New York. So he's totally tied to Eric Adams. So this meeting may have been arranged by Howard Fensterman, but it was on behalf of Frank Carone, who is the Svengali, who is the go-to guy for Eric Adams. And then Peter Keith came on afterwards, and we thought, at least Sid thought for a second, there'd be a hesitation about supporting me in a Republican primary.
If it came down to Adams versus Sliwa in a primary, got to put your balls on the wall here, King. Who do you endorse?
Oh, Curtis.
Absolutely. All right. Not even a second you said Curtis.
Well, that just shows how desperate things are that I'm endorsing Curtis Sliwa. I mean,
Well, but he did endorse it, Justin. It's another one that Sid Rosenberg has secured for me. And then the other day on his show, his weekly discussion with Jeanine Pirro. Wow, she was over the top for me to be the next mayor.
The onus is on you and Sean and Laura and every host on Fox News and Brian to bring me on so I can endorse Curtis Sliwa.
I love Curtis. Curtis is brilliant. Curtis is no nonsense. Curtis is the real deal. Curtis can talk about any issue you want to talk about. He's amazing. He is, and I'm not saying that because he works for the same people that I work for John, and that he's part of our family at WABC. The guy is damn smart, and he's damn good.
Nobody knows this city like him, and he has dedicated over 4 decades of his life, broken jaws, missing teeth, almost died twice, to protecting our city, which is a lot more than Eric Adams has done over the last 3 years.
Go there.
Damn right.
Thank you, Janine Pirro, our colleague here. Thank you, Peter King. And most thanks go to Sid Rosenberg, the King David II, here at WABC, who has made a tremendous transition to not only being the best talk show host in the nation, as rated by Barrett Media, there's no competition in that, but has used the bully pulpit here to help Jews all over the world and help people all over our city in a number of ways. So many thanks to my colleagues for coming on the Sliwa election campaign.